Now we're going to take our pump handle and we're going to glue it to our finished magazine well. To not bore you and save some time, we have pinned the part ahead of time. As you notice on this piece, I have offset the screws so it'll stop it from torquing one way or the other. Also pre-drilled our holes in the magazine well so that they go together and we're ready to go. We will be using Gorilla Glue again. You want to wet the surfaces of both pieces and spread a thin layer of Gorilla Glue. The pieces are smaller now, so we're only going to put the glue on one side. Once you have the glue on and you press them together, if you don't have a clamp long enough to hold this, we suggest that you use a painter's type tape. The tape like this will not leave a sticky residue like masking tape or other tapes. Take your piece of tape, you want to tape it down and hold it tight till the glue dries. Once the glue's dry, I'm going to turn this over and we're going to glue the shotgun barrel on. Again, wet both sides or both pieces. It's a small piece, so we'll spread a real thin layer of Gorilla Glue on one piece. There's already a surface to mark where this goes. You might want to use the rifle barrel to make sure it lines up. Once you have the piece where you are, again we'll use the painter's tape since I don't have a clamp. We'll tape it down as tight as we can. We have sanded and fit our trigger guard into our mag well, and also see that we have pinned it in the usual manner. In this case we have used 2 pins, that way it won't rotate on us and to give us some strength since you hold the weapon with the trigger guard. Again, we're using Gorilla Glue, so we're going to need to dampen both sides. We're only going to put our Gorilla Glue on one side because with the small pieces you don't want to use too much. Also going to get our screws to make sure that it fills in the hole. Use our popsicle stick to spread it out nice and thin. Get it all over we can. Also going to bring a little bit down over the edge because this part fits in the mag well. Now, I don't have a long enough clamp, so I'm going to use the blue painter's tape again. I'm going to throw this cloth down so our weapon doesn't slide across the table. Just run your painter's tape through the trigger guard, pull it down tight, and it'll work as a clamp. And again, we're using the painter's tape because it won't leave a residue on the resin. And then we're done. We'll put that one aside and move on. Next, we're going to attach the shoulder stock to the carry handle. First thing you want to do is drill 2 holes all the way through the shoulder stock. Then, using those holes, you can use the drill to mark the holes in the carry handle. And you want to drill those out all the way as well. I recommend using a 3.5-inch screw. That'll snug them in there nice and tight. On the outside of the shoulder stock, you'll want to use a countersink tool to countersink the holes. That way the heads will be below the surface and you can cover them later. We're also going to use some Gorilla Glue, so once again you need to dampen both sides. Put some glue in the holes in the carry handle. Do the same thing in the shoulder stock. Plus you want to spread a nice thin coating on the flat surface. We're going to go ahead and start the screws. I'm going to line that up on the carry handle and screw them all the way in. snug them in nice and tight. But you don't want to over tighten them because you don't want to crack the resin. And then since we have screws in there, you won't need a clamp. You can put that aside and move on. Now we're going to attach the carry handle to the lower receiver. You want to sand both sides so they fit nice and flush. Then, as per earlier, we're going to pin it with 3 screws. Here I've offset them, that way we won't have some rotational problems. I did the screws one at a time. I put in 1 screw, drilled a hole, made it fit, moved up, did the 2nd screw, 3rd screw. You also want to make sure that they line up with the screws on the outside. These 3 screws should line up, and that way you know you're safe in the back. And you're looking good there. Now we're going to use Gorilla Glue again, so we're going to have to get both sides damp. On this piece, this area is a raised area and you don't want glue there. First we're going to put some glue in the holes. You're going to put a thin coating on the rest of the surfaces. Now, I made the holes a little bigger so we could have some wiggle room. Again, you want to line up your 3 screws. Now, up until now, you've been able to use blue tape to hold the pieces together, but this needs to be really tight and strong, so we're really recommending that you use clamps. We're going to use 3 clamps to hold the piece together, and to expedite things, we'll just show you how the finished product will look. This is how it should look with the clamps attached.